Good afternoon, students. Welcome back to online classes of analog communication. I hope you are clear with the yesterday's class. Yesterday it was all about your time domain representation of your frequency modulated wave. Yes, so it was completely a practical and your theoretical, mathematical part. So I hope everyone has done that part clearly. In case of any doubts, please do let me know. And I think you have submitted the assignment also, which I have given in the last week itself regarding the problems. So I have been checking, some of the students have not yet submitted the assignment till now. Still I am giving some more time. Please to submit the assignment, okay, within 2 days. Okay, after that I'll be closing the link, Google link. Okay, so in the last class what we have discussed, we have seen the time domain representation of your narrow band frequency modulation as well as the wide band frequency modulation. So I hope you remember what is narrow band frequency modulation. Nothing but if you are having the beta value less than 1, that is your modulation index is less than 1, means you are having the less modulation, then it is called as your narrow band frequency modulation. When it comes to your wide band frequency modulation, here we are having the modulation index beta value that is greater than 1. So today we will see the first part, that is difference between your narrow band frequency modulation as well as your wide band frequency modulation. Then after that we will be going to see our demodulation techniques that are used for your frequency modulation, means how you are getting your original message signal, isn't it or not? So first we will see the difference between your narrow band frequency modulation as well as your wide band frequency modulation. Okay, so what is the first part? Modulation index is your, here I have given 4 to 5 differences, right? So modulation index is less than 1. Okay, then you are having the modulation index which is greater than 1. Nothing but beta is less than 1 and beta is greater than 1. And the frequency deviation is equals to 5 kilohertz. This is very important. So what for narrow band frequency modulation, your delta F frequency deviation is equals to 5 kilohertz, whereas for a wide band frequency modulation, your delta F is equals to 75 kilohertz, because you are using this for your broadcasting, means video, audio, all at a time you are using. Mainly this is used, wide band modulation is used at your entertainment purpose. So that's the reason the frequency deviation here will be more. So it is 75 kilohertz. And the modulating frequency for your narrow band frequency modulation will be 3 kilohertz, that is your message signal frequency or the modulating frequency. And the modulating frequency, that is ranging from 30 hertz to 15 kilohertz. Your wide band frequency modulation is that much wide, right? So your wide band frequency modulation, modulating frequency, the range is from 30 hertz to 15 kilohertz. And the bandwidth is, as I have said, what is the bandwidth formula you have got for the narrow band frequency modulation? Yesterday we have done in your time domain representation. It is consisting of your carrier wave plus 2 sidebands. Yes or no? Yeah. So the bandwidth is also similar to that of your amplitude modulation, because the time domain representation of your narrow band frequency modulation is similar to that of your amplitude modulation. So your bandwidth will also be similar. It is similar to that of your amplitude modulation, that is nothing but your 2m, isn't it or not? So you are getting the 2m or the twice that of your frequency you are using for your message signal. So it is 2 FM, and the bandwidth of your wide band frequency modulation is 2 delta FM. Okay, twice that of your frequency deviation. Next, this main the application where you are using this narrow band frequency modulation, this is mainly used in your telecommunications or the mobile communications. And the wide band frequency modulation is used in broadcasting, as I have already said, and entertainment purpose. Entertainment in the sense you will be having videos, audios, picture quality, pictures, everything will be covering in your wide band frequency modulation. So these are the differences between your narrow band as well as the wide band frequency modulation. You might get a question for a short answer, what is the difference between your narrow band and wide band frequency modulation. Either for 7 marks for a part A, part B, for the 5 marks also you can expect this question. But the thing is, you have to enlarge your answer. You have to give the formula also. What is the formula you have got for narrow band frequency modulation? Carrier frequency plus 2 sidebands. And in your wide band frequency modulation, you got the Bessel function equation Jn of beta. That formulas you have to include, and you have to increase this part, this blocks you have to increase, the differences you have to increase for this one. If you get the answer for 5 marks, if you are getting it for the 2 marks, this is more than enough. I hope you are clear with the differences between your narrow band as well as the wide band frequency modulations. Now we will quickly go for the detections of your frequency modulation. What is meant by detection, ma? Detection is nothing but your demodulation. So demodulation of your frequency modulation. What is demodulation? Nothing but the process which is recovering your original message signal or the original modulated signal from the FM modulated wave is called as your demodulation. Means first, in the last unit what you have done, amplitude modulator. In that one demodulation, you are recovering your message signal from the original message signal or the message signal from your amplitude modulated wave. Here you have done frequency modulation, you have done, right? So you have to get your original message signal from your which modulated wave? Frequency modulated wave. It is called as your demodulation technique. So here we are having some requirements for that one. Okay, what are the requirements? The first one is it should convert the frequency variations into amplitude variations. It is very important because your message signal has to be obtained and the envelope is very important as to get your message signal. So amplitude is very, very important. So it must convert the frequency variations into amplitude variations. Means the input for your demodulator is your frequency modulated wave. So what has to do first, it has to convert the frequency variations to the amplitude variations. From that you will be getting your original message signal. Okay, the first part, okay, first requirement is it should convert frequency variations into amplitude variations. Second one is the conversion should be linear and convenient. It should not be exponential. Okay, ups and down should not go. It should be linear and it should be convenient so as to get your message signal. Third one is the demodulator should not be insensitive to amplitude changes. It means that the demodulator circuit should not change your message signal when you are getting the amplitude changes. So the demodulator should not be insensitive. Okay, so it should not be that insensitive to your amplitude changes. And the fourth one, it should not be too critical into the adjustments and operations. You should not make your circuit too critical that it should not be adjusted. It should be adjustable and should be operatable whenever you are having the variations in your frequencies. So these are the requirements that you are having for developing or for making your FM demodulators. What is a demodulator? The device which extracts your message signal, that is nothing but your demodulator or a detector, correct? So here the detection or demodulation of frequency modulated waves will be of two types. Again in that one you will be having difference. The types of demodulators you are having as frequency discriminators and phase discriminators, but never the examiner asks that what is frequency tell us about the frequency discriminator or phase discriminator. These are the not questions that will be asked. Either you will be asked the inner parts, that is you are having two types. First one is frequency discriminator and phase discriminator. In this frequency discriminator you are having two techniques. First one is slope detectors and second one is balanced slope detector. These are the two techniques of frequency discrimination. And in phase discrimination again you are having Foster demodulating technique and ratio demodulating technique. Means it totally you are having four types. Two types are dividing them in frequency discriminator and phase discriminator. Please do note it down. Okay, in frequency discriminator you are having slope detector. Okay, first that is slope detector or demodulator, and second one is balanced slope detector or demodulator, that is of frequency discriminators. In phase discriminators you are having Foster demodulators, okay, Foster-Seeley discriminators and ratio discriminators. Okay, these are the two types of your phase discriminators. So out of that one, first we are going to discuss the slope detectors. As you have already seen the amplitude detectors, what are the blocks you will be having? One is your integrator or differentiator there, and one is your envelope detector. So here also the first part what you are having in slope detectors, this demodulator consists of two important, I have written here modulator, sorry, it is demodulator consists of two blocks. First one is your frequency selective network or the differentiator. We can say as what we have said here, it should convert the frequency variations into amplitude variations, and that is given to your envelope detector. So what you are doing, the first block is frequency selective network or the differentiator, and the second block you are having is your envelope detector. Okay, this is the block diagram for that one, for the slope detectors. So it consists of your differentiator and an envelope detector. The input for your differentiator is your frequency modulated wave that is given to your envelope detector. So here you are having two blocks. The first, what is a differentiator? The differentiator is used to convert your frequency modulated wave into the combination of your AM wave and the FM wave, because we need to get the amplitude modulated wave. As to get the proper envelope, we need this amplitude modulated wave. So the differentiator, what it does actually, it converts your FM wave into the combination of your amplitude modulated wave as well as the frequency modulated wave. Then what is mean of this one, why you are going to convert, means it converts the frequency variations of your FM wave into corresponding voltage. Voltage is nothing but the amplitude variations of your amplitude wave. Okay, so what is the main advantage, what is the main agenda? What you have to do, you have to convert the frequency variations of your FM, frequency modulated wave, into the voltage, means amplitude variations of your amplitude modulated wave, and after that this is given to your envelope detector. What is the operation of envelope detector? I hope you all remember. It is just to produce the demodulated output of an AM, which is nothing but your modulating signal. It gets your original amplitude. That original amplitude gives you a modulating or the message signal that is given at the transmitter side before modulation. Correct? So shall once again I'll repeat. The first input of your differentiator is frequency modulated wave. What is the main operation of that one? It is converting the FM wave into the combination of FM as well as the AM. So it converts the frequency variations into the amplitude variation. So that output, the amplitude variated output is given to the envelope detector, and the envelope detector detects the demodulated output of your AM wave, which is nothing but your message signal. Okay, this is the demodulator side, and this is the block diagram for that one. You will be having a, what you are going to have in this one, this slope detector will be having your primary winding. This is the discriminator part. This whole part is your discriminator part, and this part is your envelope detector, this capacitor and resistor. Okay, this is your envelope detector, and this is your discriminator part, nothing but your frequency selective network. Okay, from here you are giving the input message signal. Okay, you are giving the input message signal, that is your nothing but your frequency modulated signal. Correct? That is given to your which part? Frequency discriminator part. But the thing is, why we are going for the another one? Here what you are having, this input message signal, a frequency modulated signal is given to the detector, discriminator. Again you will be getting this AM output. From here you will be getting the output. Okay, so the slope detector is one of the simplest form of the FM detector. Okay, in your, as I have said, we are having two types, slope detector and balanced slope detector. But in the slope detector is one of the simplest part, and it makes use of parallel tuned circuit to the frequency light different from current carrier frequency, such that FC lies between the linear region and the response curve of your slope detector. So what happens here actually, what you are doing here, the main drawback here we are converting the frequency variations into the amplitude variations, but the characteristics are not linear due to the message signal is not perfectly reconstructed. See ma, what happens here, you are getting this linear signal over here, your carrier frequency is lying in this curve, means it is not linear. Okay, it will be varying. So this is the drawback of that one. Okay, so as to overcome this drawback, we are going for the balanced slope detector. So what is the drawback? So due to this non-linearity, we are getting the harmonic terms, and nothing but it consists of your harmonic noises. So as to overcome that one, we are going for the balanced slope detector. I have repeated once again, the response curve of the circuit is not linear. So because and the whatever the output you are getting here, the carrier frequency is lying in between this term and it is not linear, the output is not linear. So due to this one you are getting the amplitude is getting distorted and the noise, harmonic noises will be occurred. So as to overcome that one, we are going for balanced slope detector because it does not eliminate the amplitude variations. So that's the reason we are going for the balanced slope detector. So here we are having the advantages and disadvantages of your FM slope detector. The first one is, as I have already said, it is very simple, that can be used to provide the FM demodulation when only an AM detector is present. If you are having the frequency modulated variations, so this what happens, we will be having non-linear characteristics. So due to that one, what happens, your carrier frequency remains in that particular non-linear characteristics, and due to that one your harmonic noise will be occurred. So that is very important, and that cannot be filtered out. So that is the drawback of that one. So and another advantage is that it enables the frequency modulated wave to be detected without any additional circuitry. FM can be easily detected, but the thing is you will not get the message signal properly because you are getting the harmonic noise and the original message data will be lost. And the drawback is that it is not linear, as I have already said here. It is not linear and your carrier frequency lies over here between your this F0 and your start initial frequency. So that's the reason what happens over here. It is non-linear and the output is dependent upon the curve of a filter. So both frequency and amplitude variations are demodulated. This means that much higher levels of noise and interference are experienced. Means that will be much higher level. There will be much higher levels of noise and interference that will be added. Nothing but your harmonic noises will be added to your message signal, due to which your message signal is not the original message signal that we have sent through transmitter. Clear? So as to overcome the drawbacks of your slope detector, we are going for the balanced slope detector or the balanced discriminator. Okay, this is the balanced discriminator circuit. Here we are using two. What you are using? One here. Here you are going to tuned circuits you are using. Okay. So first one, the drawback of the slope detector, that is completely eliminated by using your balanced slope detector. Okay. So the balanced slope detector or the balanced frequency discriminator eliminates the elimination of non-linearity. The drawback was non-linearity because you are not having the linear characteristics, right? So that drawback of non-linearity is eliminated by using your balanced frequency discriminator or balanced slope detector. By how? Here, because of here we are using two tuned circuits, T1 and T2 or T dash or T2 double dash. Here we are using two tuned circuits. There you have only one tuned circuits. Here and only one diode. Here we are using completely two tuned circuits. Yes or no? Go back to your circuit. You see here what you you are having only one circuit over here, tuned circuit T1 and a diode, and you are having resistor and capacitor. Here what you are having, here you are having two tuned circuits. Yes or no? So these circuits uses two slope detectors and they are connected back to back. These are connected back to back and these are having two slope detectors to the opposite ends of the center tuned transformer. Here you are having a transformer, center tuned transformer, and they are connected to the opposite ends. Oh, this is your balanced slope detector. And see now what happens. This balanced slope detector, you are having a tuned circuit T1. Okay, and the carrier frequency. First I am starting from the operation. Let's listen carefully. These tuned circuits which are shown in this above diagram or this circuit. Here the circuit T1 is tuned above the carrier frequency. This first part is tuned above the carrier frequency, means FC plus delta F. Delta F nothing but your tuned frequency, that is more than your carrier frequency. And T2, the below frequency T2 is nothing but here this one or T2 double dash. Here it is below the carrier frequency and that is denoted by FC minus delta F. And the response of these tuned circuits will be a curve where you will be having the linear characteristics. Okay, so due to this one, the amplitude variations of these circuits are in opposite direction as instantaneous frequency changes. So hence when we are taking the difference of this variation, we will be getting a voltage to frequency characteristics, that too linear. So what we have to do, first we have to get the response of this first circuit T1. Okay, then we have to get the response of the frequency response of the T2 circuit or T2 double dash circuit. Now after that you have to do the difference between these two circuits, then you will get a voltage to frequency or frequency to voltage characteristics, that too in the linear characteristics. Okay, here you will be getting a linear characteristics. Plus the important thing is there is no harmonic distortion that will be caused when the operation is restricted in the linear region, because where we will be, because in linear region what happens there, you will be getting some harmonic distortions where in slope detector, but whereas in the balanced slope detector we are not going to get any harmonic distortions. See in this figure, ma'am, go back to your first I'll show the response of this one. This was your slope detector circuit where you are having only one slope detector, right? Here what you are using, we are using two slope detectors which are connected to one to back and that are connected to opposite end of your center tap transformer. Correct? Now what happening, from the first slope detector you are getting the output as H0 of omega. Correct? Then after that, from the second slope, then from the T2 response, from here I am getting one more slope, one more frequency characteristic, that is of your H1 of omega. Now what I have said, hence you have to take the difference of these variations as to get the output. You have to take the difference of these two variations. So if I will take, this is the H0 of omega and this is minus H0 of omega. Okay, I am giving this minus, so what happens, H1 omega minus H0 of omega, then I will get the characteristics as like this. So this is your H of omega. Okay, this is your H of omega, where you will be having the carrier frequency here, and this is the linear region where you will be getting the output. So you will be using this balanced slope detector for getting the original message signal without any harmonic distortions. Okay, and these harmonic distortions mainly occur in the linear region itself, but in the linear region also we are not getting any kind of harmonic distortions, because here we are using two slope detectors, and that slope detectors, one is above the carrier frequency Fc plus delta F, one is below the carrier frequency Fc minus delta F, and that are again after getting the responses of that one we are getting the difference, and that is given to your envelope detector at the last, and from there you will be getting your original message signal. Okay, I hope you are clear. See here, this part, up to this part you will be getting your slopes output, slope detector 1, slope detector 2, and after that from here, from the differences, after that it is given to the envelope detector. That envelope detector gets your original message signal V0. Okay, I hope you are clear. So we will see the advantages and disadvantages of your balanced slope detector also. What are the advantages? I hope you know it has the better linearity than that of your slope detector. Of course it has better linearity. See, it is having the better linearity than that of your slope detector, and this circuit is more efficient than that of your simple slope detector. Clear? And next one, the drawback over here for your balanced slope detector is that this detector has linear characteristics, but these are completely limited to the frequency deviations delta F. As I have said, this first part is Fc plus delta F and Fc minus delta F. So what happens, the drawback of this is the linear characteristics are limited. We can't go for the higher or the bigger receivers, because it is completely limited to your frequency deviations. Suppose if example, the frequency deviation for your resultant output will be 3 dB or 3 dB bandwidth. If you take that one, if you multiply, and you will get 2 into delta F. Okay, if you do that one, that is complete bandwidth is your 3 dB, then what is the delta F value you will be getting? Once again I am repeating, ma. See, for example, think that your complete bandwidth is 3 dB or 3 Hertz. Okay, then if you are applying to that one, what is your frequency value or frequency deviation value? 2 into delta F. Okay, so what is the delta f? You have to find the frequency deviation. So if I go what I'll get, 3 divided by 2, that is 1.5. So your delta f or the frequency deviation value is your 1.5. If this frequency deviation of the input wave is more than the value of that given answer, then you will get the linear characteristics. If not, then distortions will occur and you will be getting non-linear characteristics. So the operation of this detector is limited to small deviations only. For the larger deviations we can't go. If you are getting the larger deviations, then what happens, you will not get the proper linear characteristics, plus distortions will be occurring. I hope you are clear. The drawback of this detector is its linear characteristics are limited. Okay, it should not be, your frequency deviation should not be more. If it is less, then only we will be getting the good characteristics and there will be no distortions. If in case if your frequency deviation has been raised, if delta f, suppose I have said that delta f is 1.5, okay, then you will be getting the nonlinear characteristics also, and you will be not getting any kind of your distortions or any harmonic distortions. In case if you are increasing the frequency means if you are getting the wider frequency, or then what happens, your frequency deviation will also be increased. So these balanced slope detectors cannot afford that kind of your frequency deviation. So due to that one, we will be getting some noise. So that is the first disadvantage. Second one is the discriminator characteristic depends upon completely tuning. Means your both of the circuits detectors should be tuned. Okay, and the third one is the tuned circuit output is completely band limited. So hence the low pass RC filter of the envelope detector introduces distortions. If in case if it is band limited, if it goes beyond the band, of course here you will be getting some distortions. So these are the disadvantages of your balanced slope detector. Now see, you are having, as I have said, the phase differences discriminator. In that one you are having two types, Foster-Seeley discriminator and ratio discriminator or detector. So these both detectors are widely used for your frequency modulation. So that slope detector, balanced slope detector, they both are okay, but they are only used for simple frequency detectors. Okay, for higher frequencies, for any bigger receivers, we go for the phase difference discriminators that are nothing but a Foster-Seeley method or Foster-Seeley detector and a ratio detector. See here, these both are similar. They both are widely used, and these both demodulators detectors are similar, and they are mainly used for your radio receivers. Okay, these are mainly used for the radio receivers where you use the discrete components. Okay, so the Foster-Seeley discriminator have radio frequency or the RF transformer here, and you are having the two diodes. There we had only one diode. For the balanced slope detector we used two slope detectors, but here you are having two diodes and a RF transformer over here. Okay, this both the demodulators are simple to construct, and using these discrete components they offer good levels of performance and linearity. Okay, so that's the reason these phase discriminator methods are much more used for your frequency modulations. Frequency demodulations. So but however the Foster-Seeley provides a higher output and has a lower distortions than that of your radio detectors, than that of your ratio detectors, and the ratio detector provides a good level of immunity to the amplitude noise and has a wider bandwidth when compared to the Foster-Seeley method. But overall thing is, first we will see the Foster-Seeley method, which provides you a higher output and the lower distortions. But the drawback in that one is it is completely immune to the amplitude noise. Whenever amplitude increases or some noise gets, the Foster-Seeley receiver, the Foster-Seeley demodulator affects immediately. So the advantageous one in both of this is your ratio detector. Okay, it is completely immune to your noise which is coming from the amplitudes. Okay, so the working, how we are going to work over here. So first in this one I am going about telling about this, when the input frequency is equal to the carrier frequency. What is the instantaneous frequency, the input frequency you are getting? If it is equals to the carrier frequency, then what it means, of course your output voltage or the output will be 0, because your amplitude is same of that of your carrier frequency, then there is no modulation has been done, means your output equals to 0. If when the input frequency rises above the carrier frequency, the output voltage increases in positive direction, and when the input frequency drops below the carrier frequency, then the output increases in your negative direction. So hence the modulating signal is obtained from the FM modulated wave, means your frequency modulated wave. Means what you are doing when you are increasing the amplitude, increasing the carrier frequency, input frequency, your carrier frequency is also increasing in positive direction, as well as if you are decreasing the carrier frequency, then you are having the negative direction. So from overall this one, you will be getting your frequency modulating signal is obtained from your frequency modulated wave. But the drawback here is it has excellent linear response to wide band frequency modulation. Of course, this kind of demodulation techniques are used for your wide band frequency modulation, okay, than that of your slope detector. But that slope detectors are very simple, okay, and they are limited to frequency deviation itself. We can't go for the higher frequencies, higher bandwidths. But whereas these phase discriminators, that is your Foster-Seeley and ratio detectors, are used for your wideband frequency demodulation, okay. So mostly for your wideband frequency modulations we are using this one, okay. So it has excellent response to the wideband frequency modulation than that of your slope detector. But the output of this circuit responds not only to the frequency variations but also to the amplitude variations. Means what I have said already, in Foster-Seeley what happens, it responds to the frequency variations, it has to respond to the frequency variation, but what happens, it also responds to the amplitude variations. Due to that one, some noise will be occurred, and plus we need an amplitude limiter extra to that one, okay. That becomes more complex. So as to reduce this drawback or as to overcome this drawback, we are going for the ratio detector, where it detects where it does not respond to any amplitude variations. It only responds to the frequency variations, which gets your original message signal. So this was about your Foster-Seeley discriminator as well as your ratio detector. You will be having the circuit diagrams of this one, and the working also I will provide you in the notes. So that was about your demodulation techniques of your frequency modulated signals. I hope you are clear with this topic in today's topic, okay. We have seen the differences between narrow band frequency modulation and wide band frequency modulation, as well as the demodulation techniques of your frequency modulated wave. What you are having in demodulation techniques of your frequency modulated wave, there are two types. One is frequency discriminators and phase discriminators. In frequency you are having slope detector and balanced slope detector. In phase you are having Foster-Seeley method and ratio detectors. So balanced slope detectors and slope detectors are mainly limited to your smaller frequencies, right? Because first one was your slope detector, there you are having the drawback. Then you are going for the balanced slope detector, where you are using two slope detectors, okay. But also here the frequency, because of limited frequency deviations, we are not going for the higher bandwidths. So we are having phase discriminated methods, where you are having Foster-Seeley method and the ratio detectors. Here you will be using a transformer, RF transformer, and the two diodes you will be using, and these are completely used both these are completely gets you linear responses, and there will be no distortions and no harmonic noises will be occurring in these methods, okay. And if you compare Foster-Seeley and ratio detectors, the drawback is that in Foster-Seeley it is completely immune to the amplitude noise, because what happens here, it responds to the frequency variations and also the amplitude variations, but ratio detector, it does not respond to any frequency variation. So it is not that much, it is not immune to that one. So what happens overall here, the ratio detector is more often selected for a discriminator, since it is relatively immune to the amplitude variations, means it is much more stronger, it is immune. So this drawback from the Foster-Seeley can be overcome by your ratio detector. So this completes your demodulation techniques of your frequency modulation, as well as the second chapter or the second unit of your analog communications. So I hope you are clear with the second unit. In this whole chapter, if you are having any doubts, please do let me know, and do practice the equations, time domain representation of your narrowband and frequency modulations, that are very important. So I hope you are clear. In case of any doubts, please let me know, and we'll wind up the class today on this topic itself. Thank you.